MC Search didn't just shape hip-hop. He manipulated its core, leaving behind a trail of broken deals, bitter grudges, and stories that remain untold to this day. What starts as a tale of a young MC rising to stardom with third base spirals into allegations of betrayal, misuse of trust, and a moment so shocking it almost shattered his entire reputation. Search didn't just want to succeed, he wanted it to dominate. And for a while, he did. Tracks like Gasface became cultural touchstones, and Search's personality, equal parts to brash and charismatic, made him a force to be reckoned with. But even as he rose to fame, seeds of discord were sown. Feuds with artists like MC Hammer and his controversial dealings with nonfiction would later tarnish his reputation. Michael Barron, better known as MC Search, was born on May 6, 1967, in Far Rockaway, Queens, New York. Growing up in a diverse and culturally rich neighborhood, Search was drawn to the rhythms of hip-hop that echoed through the streets. The 1980s were a defining era for the genre, with the rise of pioneers like Grandmaster Flash, Run DMC, and the Sugar Hill Gang. Search, a white kid in a predominantly black community, was captivated by this burgeoning art form. Despite his love for hip-hop, Search's journey into the culture wasn't seamless. He faced skepticism and outright hostility as a white artist, in a genre that was, and still is, deeply rooted in black expression. But instead of retreating, Search leaned into the challenge. He started honing his skills as a rapper, gaining recognition for his quick wit and clever wordplay. In the late 1980s, Search teamed up with Pete Nice and DJ Richie Rich to form Third Base. The trio quickly gained attention for their ability to blend humor, social commentary, and cutting-edge beats. Their debut album, The Cactus Album, became a critical and commercial success. Tracks like Step Into the AM and The Gas Face showcased their unique style, blending lyrical complexity with cultural critiques. Third Base wasn't just a group, they were a statement. At a time when hip-hop was largely dominated by black voices, Third Base carved out a space for themselves without trying to appropriate the culture. They were embraced, albeit cautiously, for their authenticity and respect for hip-hop's roots. While Pete Nice exuded a cool, laid-back persona, Search was the group's outspoken leader. His energy on stage and off made him a magnetic presence. But it wasn't just his charisma that set him apart. It was his business acumen. Even in the early days, Search was thinking about the bigger picture. He wasn't content to just make music, he wanted to influence the direction of hip-hop itself. However, that ambition often came with a cost. Behind the scenes, tensions began to simmer. Search's drive to succeed sometimes clashed with his collaborators' more measured approach. These early cracks in the group's dynamic foreshadowed the challenges that would follow in his solo career. Released in 1989, the Cactus album marked Third Base's arrival as a force in hip-hop. It was more than just music, it was a statement. The album took aim at commercialized hip-hop, with The Gas Face directly addressing artists and industry figures whom they saw as sellouts. Search's sharp delivery and biting wit shone throughout the record, making him stand out even among his talented peers. But it wasn't just the lyrics that made waves. The beats, heavily influenced by jazz, funk, and rock, pushed the boundaries of what hip-hop could be. The album earned critical acclaim and set Third Base apart from their contemporaries, blending humor and authenticity in a way few groups could match. From the beginning, Third Base was no stranger to conflict. Their willingness to call out other artists brought them both attention and animosity. One of their most infamous feuds was with MC Hammer. The Gas Face didn't name names, but fans quickly connected the dots. The diss struck a nerve, leading to rumors of retaliatory threats from Hammer's camp. While the feud added to Search's notoriety, it also raised questions about his approach. Was he genuinely standing up for hip-hop's integrity, or was he leveraging drama to further his career? The line between the two was often blurred, and this wouldn't be the last time Search faced such criticism. In 1991, Third Base released their second album, Derelicts of Dialect. The record continued their tradition of sharp social commentary and innovative production. It included Pop Goes the Weasel, a scathing critique of commercialized hip-hop, which became one of their biggest hits. By now, Search had solidified his reputation as a skilled lyricist and an unrelenting critic of the industry. But the success of Derelicts of Dialect also highlighted tensions within the group. Pete Nice and Search had differing visions for the future of Third Base. Pete leaned towards maintaining the group's identity, while Search's ambitions extended far beyond. These disagreements would soon come to a head. By the early 1990s, the cracks within Third Base had grown too wide to ignore. Creative differences, combined with the pressures of the industry, led to the group's breakup in 1992. For Search, this was both an ending and a new beginning. While Third Base had been a platform for his talents, it also represented limitations. Now, he was free to pursue his vision without compromise. But stepping out as a solo artist was no easy feat. In 1992, Search released his debut solo album, Return of the Product. The album featured tracks that showcased his lyrical prowess and willingness to address social issues. Songs like Here It Comes and Back to the Grill demonstrated his versatility, blending clever wordplay with commentary on race, identity, and the music industry. While the album received a warm reception from critics, it didn't achieve the commercial success Search had hoped for. The transition from group to solo artist proved more challenging than anticipated. Without the dynamic of Third Base to balance him, Search's music struggled to connect with a broader audience. As Search navigated his solo career, he began to expand his role in the industry. He wasn't content to be just an artist. He wanted to be a power player. This ambition would later lead to groundbreaking achievements, but it also set the stage for some of the most controversial moments in his career. One of those moments came when Search began working behind the scenes as a manager and producer. His involvement with up-and-coming artists like Nas and groups like Nonfiction showcased his eye for talent. MC Search made a pivotal decision to shift his focus from performing to shaping the careers of others. While some saw this as a retreat, Search framed it as evolution. He believed his true contribution to hip-hop could be behind the scenes, nurturing talent and influencing the culture from a new vantage point. But this shift wasn't just about passion. Search was ambitious. He saw the potential for power and legacy in being more than just a rapper. He wanted to be a gatekeeper, a tastemaker, a figure who could determine what voices got heard. It was a gamble, but one that would soon pay off in a big way. Search's most enduring legacy arguably lies in his involvement with Nas. At a time when hip-hop was undergoing a seismic shift, Nasir Jones was emerging as a generational talent. His early demos, including Live at the Barbecue, had already turned heads, but Nas needed someone to bridge the gap between the underground and mainstream. Enter MC Search. Search helped secure Nas's deal with Columbia Records, and in doing so, he became an integral part of one of the most celebrated debuts in hip-hop history, Illmatic. While Search's exact role has been debated, his influence is undeniable. He served as an executive producer on the album, helping to assemble a roster of legendary producers, including DJ Premier, Pete Rock, and Q-Tip. Yet, this accomplishment wasn't without controversy. Critics questioned Search's motives, accusing him of exploiting Nas's talent for his own gain. Others felt Search was overly eager to claim credit for Illmatic's success. While Nas himself has spoken positively of Search's contributions, the lingering doubts about Search's intentions would cast a shadow over his career. Buoyed by the success of Illmatic, Search launched Search Light Music, his own management and production company. His goal was to replicate the success he'd found with Nas by identifying and nurturing other artists. For a time, it seemed like Search was poised to become a mogul in the making. But the industry is unforgiving. Search's approach, equal parts savvy and abrasive, earned him both allies and enemies. He was unafraid to play hardball, often to the detriment of his relationships. Some artists who worked with him felt he prioritized his interests over theirs. Rumors swirled about questionable business practices, deals gone sour, and broken promises. These tensions came to a head when Search began working with the underground group Nonfiction, a relationship that would ultimately implode in dramatic fashion. In the mid-1990s, Search turned his attention to Nonfiction, a group poised to bring a darker, grittier sound to hip-hop. Comprised of Ill Bill, Gore-Tex, and Sabak Red, Nonfiction represented the raw, unapologetic ethos of the New York underground. For Search, they were the perfect candidates for his next big project, a chance to prove that his success with Nas wasn't a fluke. Search secured a deal for nonfiction with Geffen Records, a major label contract that could have catapulted the group to mainstream success. For a moment, it seemed like everything was falling into place, but behind the scenes, tensions were brewing. The deal with Geffen came with a significant advance, much of which was funneled into creating a studio space for nonfiction. But according to the members of the group, Search mismanaged the funds, leaving little for the actual production of their debut album. Rumors circulated that Search had used part of the advance for personal expenses, including purchasing property. The fallout was swift. Nonfiction's relationship with Search deteriorated, with accusations flying on both sides. Search defended himself, claiming he had done everything in his power to support the group. But the members of the nonfiction saw things differently. To them, Search had exploited their potential for his own gain, leaving them to pick up the pieces. The collapse of the Geffen deal was a devastating blow for nonfiction. Without the support of a major label, their debut album was shelved, and the group was left to rebuild their career independently. For Search, it was a moment of reckoning. His credibility as a manager and producer took a significant hit, and the experience left a lasting stain on his reputation. For many in the hip-hop community, the saga became a symbol of the precarious balance between trust and ambition in the music business. The nonfiction saga wasn't an isolated incident. As Search's career progressed, a pattern emerged. While his ability to recognize and nurture talent was undeniable, his relationships with artists were often fraught with tension. Critics accused him of being overly controlling, with a tendency to take more credit than he deserved for the success of those he worked with. This perception was exacerbated by Search's public persona. His confidence, sometimes bordering on arrogance, rubbed many the wrong way. While his contributions to hip-hop were significant, his role in various controversies made it difficult for some to separate his achievements from his missteps. Despite these challenges, Search remained a prominent figure in hip-hop. He continued to manage artists and produce records, though his influence waned as the industry evolved. By the mid-2000s, MC Search was facing a crossroads. The music industry he had navigated for decades was changing, and his role as a key figure within it was diminishing. But if there was one thing Search had proven over the years, it was his ability to adapt. Recognizing the growing power of media and the storytelling opportunities it provided, he shifted his focus to television and digital platforms. Search's first major media venture was Search, a daytime talk show that attempted to blend hip-hop culture with traditional talk show formats. Though the show lasted only a single season, it represented an important shift in Search's career. He was no longer just a behind-the-scenes figure. He was now a public storyteller, using his platform to connect with a broader audience. Around the same time, Search began appearing in a number of hip-hop documentaries and retrospectives. His knowledge of the genre's history, combined with his natural charisma, made him a sought-after commentator. Whether discussing the cultural impact of the Illmatic or reflecting on the golden age of hip-hop, Search brought a unique perspective, one that was shaped by both his successes and his controversies. Search's transition to media wasn't without its challenges. While his storytelling skills and deep knowledge of hip-hop made him an engaging presence, his past controversies continued to haunt him. Critics accused him of framing himself as a more central figure in hip-hop's history than he actually was, while others questioned his motives for stepping into the spotlight. Still, Search remained undeterred. He launched a podcast, Search Says, where he interviewed a range of the guests from hip-hop legends to cultural commentators. The podcast offered Search a platform to share his views on everything from the evolution of hip-hop to the challenges of navigating the music industry. More importantly, it allowed him to address some of the criticisms that had followed him throughout his career. As Search continued to evolve, he found a new sense of purpose in mentorship. Drawing on his experiences, both positive and negative, he began working with young artists, helping them navigate the complexities of the music industry. For Search, this wasn't just about giving back, it was an opportunity to make amends for the mistakes he had made in the past. Search's mentorship style was candid and direct. He didn't sugarcoat the realities of the music business, nor did he shy away from sharing his own failures. For many of the artists he worked with, this honesty was a breath of fresh air. Search wasn't trying to sell them a dream, he was preparing them for the challenges ahead. One of Search's key initiatives was creating spaces where veteran and emerging artists could connect and learn from one another. He launched a mentorship program called The Verse Bridge, which paired hip-hop pioneers with younger artists to foster mutual respect and understanding. This program was particularly meaningful to Search, as it allowed him to leverage his experience for the benefit of others. By acting as a bridge between generations, he hoped to preserve the rich history of hip-hop while nurturing its future. Search also began collaborating with artists he had once inspired or worked alongside. These projects were less about commercial success and more about celebrating the collaborative spirit of hip-hop. Whether producing tracks or lending his voice to features, Search used these opportunities to highlight the importance of community and mutual support. One notable collaboration was with a rising independent artist who had cited Search as a major influence. They revisited old albums, reconnected with childhood friends, and even began journaling his thoughts, a practice he had once dismissed as unnecessary. Through this process, he gained a deeper appreciation for the people and experiences that had shaped him. He also came to terms with the reality that not every bridge could be rebuilt, and that redemption was a lifelong pursuit. That's the story of MC Search: success, betrayal, and legacy. If you enjoyed this, like, comment, and subscribe for more hip-hop deep dives. Thanks for watching.